Hasbro City is a new indoor theme park in Mexico City. Located in the Paseo Interlomas shopping mall, this place really surprised me. It had a unique ride lineup and a great atmosphere. There was some really good theming for a park of this scale. I'll explain everything you need to know about this park in this review. Imagic Park opened back in 2018. This was a 10,000 square meter or 2.5 acre indoor theme park. It was small, but it had an interesting ride lineup and some solid theming. The park was closed for a few years after the COVID-19 pandemic, and during that time, it was transformed into Hasbro City. The park received theming to tie in with the toy company's most popular brands, and it reopened in June of 2023. This included a mix of brand new attractions and rethemes to pre-existing ones. The park is located in the Paseo Interlomas shopping mall. This is a large and modern shopping complex, located in Huixquilucan, Greater Mexico City. I arrived using Uber, but there also is a large parking garage attached to the mall if you have your own car, and there's also city buses that travel there. Hasbro City is located on the top floor. While you cannot see any of the park before you enter, there is a colorful and attention-grabbing facade. Anyone can access the gift shop for free. You must pay to enter the theme park though. Each package gets you entry to the park, plus a points card that you use in the rides and games. I have two issues with this park's admission setup. First, there's no re-entry. This is a frustrating policy for any theme park, especially one located in a mall. I can see many people wanting to leave to get something to eat at the food court and then return later, but you have to pay again to re-enter. Second, they do not have the prices for the rides and games listed before you enter. I was stunned this information was not available on the website or in a centralized location. You had to walk up to each individual attraction to find out its cost. For reference, most rides and games cost 35 to 50 pesos each, or $2 to $3 US. I think the ride prices are extremely reasonable compared to other pay-per-ride theme parks, but the prices for the arcade games are shockingly high. That is 2 to 6 times higher per game than most arcades I visit. I would much rather pay for a 1 to 3 minute ride than a 30-second arcade game. There are machines inside for you to reload your card, but it's a far worse value, so you want to accurately guess how much you'll do when you buy your base ticket. This is because there are 3 admission options, and whichever one you purchase, you get double the points. If you buy the basic ticket for 149 pesos or $9 US, you get 300 pesos to spend on rides and games. That is enough to do 6 to 9 rides or games. If you buy the regular ticket for 349 pesos or $21 US, this gives you 700 pesos to spend on rides and games. That's enough to do 14 to 20 rides or games. Then there's a plus ticket for 499 pesos or $30 US. This gives you admission and 1,000 pesos to spend on rides and games. That's enough to do 20 to 30 rides or games. Once inside, I was in awe how nice it looked. I was expecting a big open area with some cutouts or statues, but this park had these mini-themed lands. Plaza Central is the first area. This zone is themed to Monopoly. The floor is decorated with spaces from the board game. In the center, there's a talking Mr. Monopoly animatronic. Then the room opens up to an upper level complete with the park's lone roller coaster running along the ceiling. Continuing counterclockwise, the next area is Garden Walk. This is a small hallway with hedge sculptures for different Hasbro icons like the Hungry Hungry Hippos and Mr. Potato Head. Next is Main Street. This reminds me of a street in Boston. You have all these 2 to 3 story buildings on both sides, most which represent a different board game. Upstairs and adjacent is Play Street. This is themed to children's toys like Play-Doh or Tonka. Back downstairs is Muelle or the Docks. The focal point of this area is a giant pirate ship. This leads into Cybertron, which is themed to Transformers. This is a dark area with LED lights, giving it a futuristic vibe. Then there are some large robot statues as well. Equestria is themed to My Little Pony with a Pinkie Pie statue. Lastly, there's a Nerf Arena upstairs. This is themed to the toy guns, but it was under construction when I visited. It has since opened. I like how each area has its own distinct feel. That's something you typically get at a large park, not something on the scale of an FEC. While the park is small, it can be a little confusing switching between levels until you're familiar with the park. The pathways going between levels are narrow and often do not have signs. For example, the back entrance to the arcade is through this unmarked stone carving of Mr. Potato Head. It looks nice, but not very intuitive. My lone visit took place on a December weekday, so the park was not particularly busy. I didn't wait more than 5 minutes for most attractions. I had to wait 15 minutes for the Hasbro carts, G.I. Joe ropes course, and Transformers Energy Surge motion simulator simply because of their low throughputs and slow loading. I imagine these 3 rides will have the worst waits most days. I would prioritize these early in the day, especially Energy Surge because it kept on breaking down. Some additional touring notes. Every ride has wait time markers on the floor. However, these are wildly inaccurate. Nearly every ride says it'll take an hour from the start of the queue, but they have very little queue space, so the waits are grossly overestimated. For example, the Optimus Prime drop tower is a queue that holds maybe 50 people max, but the sign says it'll take an hour if it's full. For reference, it took maybe 5 minutes to get through half of the queue line. The one exception is Monopoly the Ride. I think this one was severely underestimated because unlike the other attractions, this ride actually has a massive amount of queue space. If this were filled out in full, I imagine it would take 2 to 3 hours. It is also worth noting that rides may have staggered hours. Some rides opened an hour late, while others closed an hour early, so plan accordingly if you're visiting either early or late in the day. Staff members here are friendly. I'd say maybe 25% of the staff speaks at least a little English, but most only spoke Spanish. That being said, I had no trouble getting around because a lot of signage was in English. Now let's run through the attraction lineup. The lone roller coaster is Monopoly the Ride. This attraction originally opened as Dax the Ride when it was Imagic Park, but it was rethemed to the board game. The main layout has no theming, but the queue has all sorts of references. The ride itself is a vegan V-Flyer, which is a powered suspended coaster. It is a fairly mild attraction, but it does give a fantastic bird's eye view of the park. It basically feels like a high-speed monorail. It travels over each area of the park, and the finale even briefly passes outdoors, several stories above the street. I have an entire review published about this ride if you want to learn more. Then this park has a few flat rides. The best of the bunch is Transformers Energy Surge. This is a unique motion simulator. It looks like one of those crazy couch rides off-ride, but the gondola is capable of tilting and even fully inverting. Then riders wear virtual reality headsets and are chased by Megatron. The motion and visuals were fun, but there were a few abrupt motions during the high-speed chase at the end. This could cause you to bash your head into the restraint. I didn't find it uncomfortable, but it could shift the headset's position, so I recommend holding on to it. Optimus Prime towers an 80-foot or 25-meter tall Zamperla drop tower poking out the roof of the mall. Most sides look towards the roof and HVAC equipment, but the ride thankfully spins so everyone can appreciate the sides staring at the street. The drops are not too forceful, but their length did offer a tummy-tickling sensation. Power Rangers Battle is a special set of bumper cars. Half the cars spin and flip. The cars are not too powerful, and the controls and responsiveness are finicky, but it is a disorienting experience trying to drive while inverted. It was really neat, and you can get a ton of hang time on this if you stall yourself upside down. That is why I take it over your regular set of bumper cars, and see my separate review for more reasons why. The final flat is Zamperla Magic Bikes themed to My Little Pony, and that's a nice option for kids. This park does not have any true dark rides, but there is a Triotech 7D theater themed to Nerf. This was not open for my visit, but I've done these elsewhere and they are solid attractions. They're screen-based shooters with plenty of 3D targets to fire at, and the motion platform usually adds a degree of chaos. There are a handful of active attractions as well. The most notable of the bunch is G.I. Joe Challenge. This is a high ropes course with several wobbly balance beams and platforms, and I like how this goes directly over rides and pathways. There are no zip lines, but there are some rarer obstacles like a skateboard and a multi-story jump at the end. Then there's the Energon Climb rock wall. It is not difficult if you've any prior climbing experience, but there are a variety of handholds. The Hasbro Carts GoKarts have a small course, but the turns are tight, so it takes some skill to navigate them without wiping out. Then I believe the Nerf area will be including a battle arena once that's finally complete. And kids have some play areas exclusively for them, mostly on Play Street. This park also has plenty of games available. There's a VR shooter in the Transformers area. Then there are 2 arcades. There's a smaller one meant for kids. Then there's a larger one called Arcade Avenue. There is a vast collection of modern games, but they are not a good value compared to games elsewhere or the park's other attractions. You won't find any traditional Midway games here, just arcade games. There also is a show in the Coca-Cola Theater with all the park's characters, but I was not able to catch it during my visit. I did not get anything to eat while at the park, so I cannot comment on the quality. All I purchased was some water, which was fairly priced. I liked how the food places were themed. The Clue restaurant looked really cool, and then there fittingly was a Hungry Hippos eatery. So do I recommend Hasbro City? Yes, I do. This is a really impressive park for its size. It has more theming than I expected and a nice atmosphere. Then the attraction lineup is quite unique between the quirky rides and active attractions. I do wish this park offered re-entry and clearer pricing, but I think this is a good value when you focus on the rides and not the arcade games. I think this is the area's best indoor theme park, as I much preferred it to the nearby Paramagico. Hasbro City has a much better atmosphere and more attractions available, and if you're on a coaster trip, this place is not too far from Six Flags Mexico. How much time you'll need depends on the ticket you purchase. I would estimate an hour for the basic ticket, 2 hours for the regular ticket, and 3 hours for the plus ticket. So those are my thoughts on Hasbro City, the impressive new indoor theme park in Mexico City. What are your thoughts on this park? Let me know down in the comments. If you enjoyed this review, I would appreciate it if you gave this video a like, and you considered subscribing, because there'll be a lot more roller coaster and amusement park videos here at Canopy Coaster. Thanks for watching.